Kuma lehim shofta haaretz kiyata simchal v'chol hagoyim. We are page 19 in our booklet. We're doing the Rambam, Hilchos Melachim and Melcham Yisayim, chapter 12, the laws of Moshiach. And we're up to halacha number 4. Page 19. The sages, our great sages that used to yearn for Mashiach, they didn't yearn for Mashiach in order to have dominion over the entire world, or in order to rule over the Gentiles, to be exalted by the nations, or to eat, drink, and celebrate. Rather, they were waiting and anticipating and hoping for Mashiach for spiritual reasons, to be free, to involve themselves in Torah and wisdom without any pressure or disturbances, so they would merit the world to come, as explained in the laws of Cheshvan. In other words, being that the sages, their main concern about everything was spirituality, so it's not that they wanted Mashiach so they could have all the food they need and all the clothing they need and everything physically will be just nice. And then they mainly wanted Mashiach so they be able to be spiritually in the best possible place. There's no disturbances. Everything is, nobody is sick and nobody is being persecuted, or nobody is being under stress or distress. And therefore they'll be able to occupy themselves completely with Torah and mitzvahs. Yeah.
When it says the sages, who does that imply?
The great sages, meaning the tzaddikim.
Just in general?
Yeah. So this brings up a question. I remember once there was a whole dialogue going on in some Jewish journal about this question. So is it okay for someone to want Mashiach and hope for Mashiach because they want their relative to be well, not to be sick, or because they want the war to stop and they want the fighting to stop and they want certain blessings which they're missing in life and they don't have it? Is there anything wrong with that? Or is that means I'm wanting Mashiach for the wrong reasons and that's not okay?
Are those wrong reasons?
What?
Are those wrong reasons?
Well, I'm saying
you know that you said.
Right, it comes down to the real reason that you want Mashiach is for spiritual purposes. Because very often we hear that people who are going through, who's not going through? Everybody's going through something. If I'm not going through something, then my relative is going through something, my friend is going through something, and you're just saying, how let Mashiach come already so this problem and this crisis will be over and everything will be fine. Is that wrong to do? I remember originally when the Rebbe first came out with We Want Mashiach Now, some people wrote these articles, people who love everything Chabad does. So they also had a problem with this. That what do you want Mashiach? You don't want him for the right reasons, isn't it?
I think it's not wrong, but it's not the ultimate reason.
You think it's not?
Yeah, the ultimate reason.
Not the ultimate reason, right? You said it very good. I want to explain that. First of all, we can actually see from the davening itself. In the davening, is there any place where we ask for Mashiach in the davening?
In the monastery.
Right. Not only that, we're going to talk about this in the other class, but I'll just bring it in briefly, is that some people had this argument that we're not supposed to think so much about Mashiach, we're not supposed to focus so much on Mashiach. So one of the shluchim once sat down with a siddur and started counting how many times a day do we ask for Mashiach in our davening. He came up with a number, which is a real number, close to 50 times a day. If a person davens 3 times a day and benches after every meal that they eat, you're asking for Mashiach about 50 times a day. To give you an example, in Shmon Esrei itself, you mentioned Shmon Esrei. You ask for Tchias HaMesim, that's Mashiach. We ask for the judges to be back, that's Mashiach. We ask for Hashem to blow the big shofar, that's Mashiach. What? That's Mashiach. We're asking that David HaMelech should be a king again, that's Mashiach. And don't forget, that's in Shemona Esrei alone. There are other places. In Aleinu, we're asking for Mashiach. In Kolakenu, we're asking for Mashiach. And a lot of these things we do 3 times a day, so triple it 3 times. And then at night before we go to bed in one of the prayers. Then by benching, we have it of Bnei Yerushalayim. So first of all, happy to say too much if we do this. The way our sages wrote the Siddur, they made it that we should be asking for Mashiach so many times a day. The second question is, how can I say I'm asking for Mashiach? Do I ask for the right reasons? Every single person says, maybe there should be a condition. Don't say this part of Shemon Esrei unless you really mean it with all your heart, only for a spiritual purpose. There's no such rule. There's no such halacha. And nobody in the world ever would say such a thing. Every man who's obligated to daven, every woman is obligated to say the whole Shemon Esrei, even the parts that are asking for Mashiach. And I don't have to examine myself and say, I'll only ask for it if it's for the right reasons. So first of all, what Shuli said, maybe it's not the ultimate reason, but it still means I believe in Mashiach, because someone who doesn't believe in Mashiach is not going to say, I hope Mashiach comes, my problem will end if you don't believe in Mashiach. So the mere fact that I say, I hope Mashiach will come, my problem will end, is expressing my belief in Mashiach. And that alone makes Mashiach come sooner. That's number one. Number two, there's a famous quote in Gemara, and I remember we had this in Pirkei Avos, which is, you're supposed to learn Torah also for the right reasons. What's the right reasons? If a person studies Torah because they know that if they have a lot of Torah knowledge, they're going to get a lot of respect in the community. Is that the right reason? No. A person studies Torah because then they know they're going to get a position as a rabbi in a certain synagogue or in a certain yeshiva, and they're going to make a lot of money. Is that a good reason? Also not. If a person studies Torah for these kind of reasons, that's called ulterior motive. So what's the right reason? Because Hashem wants me to do it. It's a mitzvah. Or if you want to go a little bit deeper, because by learning Torah, it's like embracing Hashem. I'm connecting to Hashem. So the Gemara, in language of Gemara, this is called Lishma. Learning Torah. Oh, I know where we spoke about it, in the Tefillah class. In the Tefillah class, when we make the bracha for learning Torah in the morning, we say, thank you, Hashem, we should be able to learn Torah Lishma. And then we spoke, what does Lishma mean? For the right reasons, for its sake, for the right reasons, not for ulterior motives. What about a person who feels, I'm not motivated for those reasons. I'm really motivated because I want to make money. I'm motivated because I want the honor. Or I'm motivated because I just enjoy the academics of Torah study. Not so much because I'm connecting to Hashem. I shouldn't study until I get to that place, or I should study. So the Gemara says a person should study Torah no matter what the reason is. And eventually, from studying Torah for whatever superficial reason, you'll come to study Torah for the right reason. But there's something very beautiful here. It's in the Hebrew. So let me see if we can explain it. The Hebrew words are mitoich shel lo lishma. Lo lishma means not the right reason. Ba lishma, you'll come to the right reason. Mitoich, from doing it for the ulterior motive, not the right reason, you come to do the right reason. So the Rebbe says the word mitoich has another meaning. Toich means inside. Inside the not right reason really is the right reason. Mitoich shelo lishma, ba lishma. From doing it not for the right reasons. Shall I write it down on the board? I'll write it in English, yeah? The first word is mitoich. This is my mitoich. I wrote it in English, right? That's what I said when we were doing it. Okay. Sorry. I forgot what English is. Mitoich. Mitoich. She. Lo. Bishma. Which means from the not right reason, ba will come, Nishma, the right reason. So literally this means for its sake, and this is not for its sake, for ulterior motive. This word, mitaych, literally means from, but it also could mean inside. So when a person does something like learning Torah, and they do it for an ulterior motive, deep inside, they really want to do it for the right reason. That's what it is. Is an amazing Rambam, Maimonides, that explains something in Gemara, and he's the first one to explain it. But it's as if he took a piece out of Tanya and put it into the Rambam, even though he lived a few hundred years before Tanya. What is it? There's certain halachas, just recently we learned one of them, certain halachas, let's say certain sacrifices that a person has to bring, or let's say a man who, for whatever reason, is not allowed to be married to this woman, even if the reason is that he's being abusive and therefore he's being told that he has to divorce her, and he says, I don't want to. And the halacha is, if a man gives a divorce not willingly, it's not valid. He has to want to. Now, they have to get divorced, and he doesn't want to. What do you do? So the Bezdin have to force him until he says the words, I want to. And once he says the words, I want to, he gives the divorce, and it's valid. I remember always learning that and thinking to myself, does he really want to? He's doing it only because you're forcing him, using sometimes physical force. But why is that considered really wanting? We know the truth, he doesn't want to. So the words of the Rambam, these are his words, which is like what it says in Tanya, that deep down in the soul level, every Jew wants to do what the Torah tells him to do. The fact that he says no, that's not the real person. That's something external. That's my Yetzer Hara, not letting me be my real self. So when he says the words, I want to, even though externally it's superficial, but deep down, he really wants to do what the Torah says. And if the Torah wants him to do this, then that's what he really wants. And therefore it's valid. Halachically, it's valid. So for example, if you stop someone on the street when you're doing the Tzayim, and a man would ask a man, would you like to put on film? He's just a nice person. He doesn't want to say no because it doesn't make you feel bad. It's not that he's inspired spiritually. Okay, I'll put on this film. Like almost like, I'll do you a favor. So superficially, he's doing me a favor. But the Torah would say that deep down, his neshama is dying with the anticipation. He's so excited to do it. But he, on the surface, thinks it's a different reason. And therefore, when same thing if a woman, let's say, is asked to light Shabbos candles, and she wants to be nice, she takes the candle, okay, I'll light it. But she's thinking maybe it's traditional. She doesn't understand really what the mitzvah is all about. But the Torah will tell us that deep down, her neshama knows what it's about, and the neshama wants to do it for the right reasons, and it manifests in the fact that she wants it for one reason or another. Or like we maybe learned about this in class when we spoke about Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. A lot of Jews who are really unaffiliated, disassociated, and they don't go to shul all year round, but on Yom Kippur or Rosh Hashanah, they go to shul. If you ask them, why do you go Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur? Tradition. My father went, my grandfather used to go. Some people will say, because I like the cantor, he sings so beautiful, I go to shul because they give a good kiddush after the davening is over. These are all superficial reasons. But we believe that because it's a special time of the year, something inside the person flares up, and the neshama wants to do it. And this is an answer to a lot of things. Like, if you do the Shmoneh Esrei, you'll notice there's There's a humorous answer to this question, and there's a real answer. At the end of the Shemona Esrei, there's words Yehiyu l'ratzon imre fi v'hegin libi lifanecha, which means Hashem, that the words that came out of my mouth be accepted to you, and the thoughts of my heart be accepted to you. So Chassid once asked, when you say the words should be accepted, the words are beautiful words, they're in the Siddur. But the thoughts of my heart, sometimes we float away in the middle of davening, and my thoughts are not even about the words that I'm saying. Yeah.
You said in the beginning that you said that some halachas take sacrifice. So from whom? When they first, for example, the man got to give her the gift. So who the sacrifice from whom? From the people that do it, or from himself?
It's two separate things. Sacrifice is one thing. Sometimes in a situation he has to bring a korban. If he doesn't want to, the Bezdin force him to bring that korban. Bezdin do it. He has to give a get. The wife comes to the court and demands that she should be divorced. And he has to, he doesn't want to. So the Bezdin force him. But when they force him, he still has to say verbally, I want to do it.
So in all times they have to give the sacrifice?
No, it's not connected.
Oh.
These are two separate examples. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So very often, unfortunately, most people, when they daven, their thoughts float off to other things. Sometimes you hear people davening, and they're wondering, how did I get to benching in the middle of davening there? Oh, in Ashrei it says, I wasn't thinking, so I ended up saying, Hazanas HaKol. Ended up benching. A lot of words in davening are similar. I started here, I ended up there. The guy started davening. In 2 minutes, he's finished. How did that happen? By mistake. This word is in the beginning of davening. It's also at the end of the davening. And instead of saying the whole middle, I went straight to the end. They say that a Rabbi once saw somebody davening Shemot Esrei. Then he went Osa Shalom, took 3 steps back, and he finished. And the Rabbi walked over, Shalom Aleichem, how are you? He says, why are you saying Shalom Aleichem? Well, you just came from a big trip somewhere, in davening. People take trips in their thoughts. So how can I say at the end, Hashem, my thoughts should be accepted to you. My thoughts are in other places. So he gave a good answer. He said, you know what? Just like you don't think what you're saying when you say the other words, we don't think what we're saying when we say this, so it's not a problem. But that's a joke. The real reason is that even though my conscious thought might not be in the right place, but subconsciously my neshama is behind every word that comes out of my mouth. So therefore, every word I say is emes, even if consciously I don't know about it. And the same is here. The same is here, that when a Yid says, I want Mashiach now, and I want Mashiach because I want this family member to become healthy and well, outwardly, I might be saying I want it for this reason, but inside, I really want Mashiach for the right reasons, and that's why it's in the davening, and that's why it's perfectly okay. So number one, it's not the ultimate, it's only a superficial reason, that's true. It's still an expression of my belief. Number two, deep down, I want it for the right reasons. And there's a number 3 answer. These 2 you got? So what's the third answer? The third answer that in essence, asking Hashem that everybody should be happy and everybody should be well and everybody should be healthy and everybody should have what they need. And there should be no grief and no tears and no pain and no suffering anywhere in the world. Nobody should be suffering. In essence, you know what you're asking for? You're asking for godliness to be revealed in the world. That's what it is. So it's just saying the right thing in a different language.
I heard my disagreement.
Yeah.
And he said that asking for Moshiach is not wishful thinking, it's a necessity for Moshiach to come.
It's not wishful thinking.
Right. It's not like, I hope one day Moshiach comes. Like, he has to come.
Right. It's something very real. Right. So I just want to say, so when a person, what's going to be when Mashiach comes? When Mashiach comes, we'll see godliness revealed. That's godliness revealed, that everything will be good in a way that we see it good. Because one of the biggest things that make people have difficulty accepting Hashem is when they see suffering, when they see pain, when they see bad people succeeding and good people going through hardships. But when everything's going to be good in a way that it's good physically and spiritually, that is godliness revealed. That's really the essence of Mashiach. Yes, Khan.
So the ultimate reason for wanting Moshiach is for godliness to be revealed?
Yeah.
The whole purpose of the world.
That's the whole purpose of the world. That's the whole purpose of creation. Everything we're doing now, we're working on the 6 days of the week to get to Shabbos. Now, this is the big Shabbos. Every 1,000 years there's another day, and Shabbos is the seventh day. The day. So we're working towards that.
You said every 1,000 years we get?
Yeah, what I meant was, it says in Gemara that Hashem told Adam, the day you eat from that tree, he's going to die. But he didn't. He lived for 930 years. So the Gemara says there's a pasuk that says by Hashem, 1,000 years is like one day. So he lived 930 years. He didn't live more than 1,000 years. Because rarely he was meant to live without dying altogether. And because of this, death came into and by Hashem, it's one day. So it's explained in many places in Kabbalah, even I think the sources could be in Gemara. If that's the case, then the first 1,000 years is like Sunday. The second 1,000 years is Monday. The third 1,000 years is Tuesday. Where are we holding now? 5,000. That means we already passed Thursday. We're into Friday. 5,785. We're like Friday late afternoon, close to candlelight time on the larger scale. So we're ready to, and that's one of the reasons that are given why women accept Shabbos earlier, because women's function is to bring in Mashiach and to hasten Mashiach's coming. So by bringing in Shabbos earlier, you're also bringing in the Mashiach earlier on the larger scale.
What does that mean?
A man doesn't start Shabbos until sundown, 18 minutes earlier, right? Got it? Everything clear? Okay. So we're back to asking for Mashiach. We should be happy and healthy and have money and have food and have clothing and have all the good things we want. I want to repeat these words, not explain them now, we're going to explain them soon, but just to make you aware. Look at the words again. The reason why they desired was to be free, to involve themselves in Torah and wisdom without any pressure or disturbances. Why? So they would merit the world to come, as explained in the laws of Cheshvan. Wait a second, this is the world to come. It's the time of Mashiach already. They want Mashiach's time so they can learn and daven, so they can merit the world to come. So we're going to learn this a little bit later. This is the next thing we're going to study in the laws of Teshuvah, where the question is, what's going to happen after Mashiach comes, after the dead come back to life, and after all these good, amazing things are going on? Will that be forever, or that's going to change at a certain point? So in order to get that clear, we're going to have to learn another Rambam. It's also in this booklet, The Laws of Teshuvah, and we'll get there. Now the Rambam continues. Number 5, in that era, there will be neither famine, which means no hunger, no war, no envy. There won't be any jealousy between people or competition. And this is the reason why people are fighting with each other, because of these kind of things. But why won't there be any of this? Because good will flow in abundance. And all the lights, all the pleasures of the world will be, let's turn the page, like dust. In other words, just like dust is accessible, all the pleasures in the world will be accessible to us. There will be nothing that a person can say, I don't have, I can't have. And the occupation of the world will be solely to know Hashem. Therefore, the Jews will be great sages and know hidden matters. In the notes on the bottom, they make a point. Before he says the occupation of the entire world will be to know Hashem. The next paragraph says, therefore the Jews will be great sages and know hidden matters. Meaning that the line before is not only the Jews, it's the whole world. The occupation of the entire world means all the nations of the world will be occupied with knowing Hashem. I have something very interesting to show you. We talk about this a lot, that of course the Rebbe is telling us we're living in that time, but when you look around, there's so many things that are going on that help us see more almost visually how times have changed, and the world is now in a situation that is so close to Mashiach. Remember last time what happened to that book? You looked at it a little bit? The one with the physicist? About that book that writes that Cheshvan is inevitable. This is an article. I know you're going to ask me, what's that doing in the Torah classroom? But this is an article about something that was said by none other than Bill Gates. I'm sure you heard the name before. He's not one of the rabbis. I think he's I hope I made the right copy. It have two sides to it. What are we saying here? Mashiach is going to come. The world is going to be busy with knowing Hashem. Tell that to somebody, and they'll say, "Come on, be real." Yeah. Bill Gates, if anything, I think I made the same copy on both sides. Oh no. Haste makes waste. Yeah, that's what I did. I made the same copy twice. 8:30 in the morning is really very early. Sorry, I did it quickly. So I have a few copies. Here's one more copy. If you can just pass it around, I'll make more copies. I'll read to you what it says there. This is Bill Gates talking about artificial intelligence, right? So these are his words. How the world is going to change because of artificial intelligence. Looking still further into the future, Gates said he believes that AI may eventually force us to redefine work itself and the role it plays in humans' life. Everything will be taken care of. Everything will be done. What are you going to do with our time? He suggests we may evolve towards more higher pursuits in life. A day will come when we won't be so focused on just working and avoiding diseases because it'll all be taken care of. We'll need some new spiritual cause that'll bind us other than just the basics. So here's a person that represents money, 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 money. And what is he saying? That the way things are going, just from a natural perspective, not from he's not quoting Rambam or Gemara. From a natural perspective, we're going in a direction that soon people are going to be looking for spiritual causes because everything else is nothing new anymore. It's all taken care of. What does this mean? Why am I saying this? Because it's just easier for our nefesh bahamas, for the animal soul to relate to Mashiach when you start looking around and see that even out there in the world, they're saying things which are totally consistent with what it says here in Torah. There'll come a time. And of course, this is for a spiritual reason, that the world will change and we will be involved, everybody involved, Jews and non-Jews, in knowing Hashem. Therefore, the Yidden will be great sages and know hidden matters, attaining knowledge of their Creator to the full extent of human potential. The world will be filled with the knowledge of Hashem as the sea fills the ocean bed. And these are the last words of the Rambam. I want to add, there's a question that people ask, and that is, it's very hard to believe that when Mashiach comes, there's a certain part of Judaism that'll be totally gone. Which part of Judaism? If Hashem will be revealed, and everyone will know him as much as human potential is possible to know, then what am I talking about? One of the things, which is not just one of the things in Judaism, but one of the most basic things in Judaism, the fundamentals, is emunah, belief in Hashem, faith in Hashem. You won't need faith that you can see everything. I don't need faith that there's a clock in this room. I see it right there. I don't need faith that it's raining outside. I see it. Then we won't need faith that Hashem is here. We'll see godliness revealed. So what's going to happen to faith? It won't be part of our sort of spiritual experience. So the Alter Rebbe says as follows: Hashem is infinite. Therefore, as much as we understand Hashem, and even when Mashiach comes, if you notice, the Rambam writes, will bring no hidden matters, attaining knowledge of the Creator to the full extent of human potential. There's a certain limit to that. We can't understand Hashem completely because we're humans. So there's a part of Hashem and there's an aspect of Hashem which is beyond understanding. Accepting that and knowing that is going to be faith. A little bit of time goes by and we're going to learn and understand that also, that'll become revealed. But being that Hashem is infinite, there's something even higher. So then that will become faith. What was faith yesterday will become understood today. And so what's going to be faith today? A higher level of godliness. And what about tomorrow? We'll understand what was faith today. And the faith will be something even higher. And when will it end? It won't, because God is infinite. That's the definition of infinity. There's no end. So there'll be both things. There'll be knowledge of Hashem. We'll know Hashem. We'll understand Him. But at the same time, there's also be emunah. And we're having emunah and faith in those levels which is beyond our comprehension. And to think of it, let's say Moshe Rabbeinu. So he spoke to Hashem. He had communication with Hashem. Nevertheless, he also had emunah. I don't know if you remember that part, but there's a story in the Chumash. We're going to learn about it a little bit later. It's in the later months, closer to Purim time. When Moshe Rabbeinu said to Hashem, Hashem, I want to see you. I want to see your face. Hashem said, a person can't see my face and live. It's impossible. I can show you the back, not my face. Of course, it's a metaphoric language, but basically it means even Moshe Rabbeinu, who studied the Torah from Hashem, and he was a human being, almost like an angel, and he went up to heaven to learn with Hashem. All that, he still only understood a certain limited amount, and there's more, and that's where his faith came in. He also had faith, but what's faith for us, for him, was simple understanding. And things that are deeper, that's where you need faith. And that's the way it'll be with all of us when Moshiach comes. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So what will we actually, like, what's our life gonna look like? I mean, I understand we're not gonna be working, right? Or we will be working. Or,
I don't want to, I told you we have two classes. One class is Rambam. We have another class, we do the Rebbe Sichos. And that's usually on Friday. So in the Rebbe Sichos, the Rebbe talks about that point. Mm-hmm. Like we just had a Shabbaton. So there was the Pgisha 2 weeks ago. And when I spoke about Moshiach to a group of boys and girls, and one of them asked me, he says, I'm into fashion. And I love what I'm doing. I really have a passion for what I'm doing. So Moshiach comes, I won't be able to do what I'm doing. And many people have that question about things that they do, their occupation. But and in the Sikh, when we learn it, I'll expand on it more. But the Rebbe explains, no, when Moshiach comes, the world will still be the same world. People will be people. Humans will be humans. Animals will be animals. We'll be doing different things. But everything that we do and everything people will do will all be having a deeper meaning to it than it is now, which is more of a world that, what's the deeper meaning? It'll all be related to godliness. In other words, what?
How can fashion be? You know, like I'm saying, I'm not putting down her work. I'm saying, how can you connect to it?
Well, we have to leave the little things for when it happens, otherwise there won't be any surprises anymore.
Wait, so they're only doctors because everyone doesn't know that listens?
Well, maybe babies have to be born, so we'll still need doctors. We'll need doctors. I think that Rebbe once told the doctor, he said, Rebbe, what's going to be with my parnasa when Moshiach comes? So he said, no, well, we need doctors for preventive medicine, to teach people how to eat, how to do things right so they don't get sick in the first place. Yeah, which is already happening now. But I think you can say it means that, let's say someone's in fashion, let's say someone is in decorating. But let's say the decoration, for example, let's say someone's decorating a shul. Decorating a shul is something that has more meaning to it. It's something, there's certain people that they donate their time because this is a shul, I'm decorating a shul. Someone will be involved in decorating the Beis Hamikdash. Imagine I'm decorating my personal home, should look nice and beautiful, and I'm consciously thinking and even feeling that my home is a miniature temple. I want Hashem's presence to be here, and I want it to be beautiful. So the beauty in clothing or the beauty in a home or other things could be related to Hashem and have a deeper meaning. And same with other things that people do. People are into writing, people are into song, people are into dance, people are into art, everything. And even now, this is already, art is one of the things that years ago was totally not such a kosher place at all. Now there are artists that do beautiful work with art, and many people are inspired to come closer to Judaism through art, which means is an artist, he's inspired, but inspiration, he looks for things that are more meaningful and have something to do with spirituality. So when Mashiach comes, it's as if to say the world will be there, but there'll be new and deeper meaning to everything that we're going to do. So no one should be afraid they're going to lose something, we're only going to gain.
So the nature of the world will stay the same? Or as in it will still, people will still work hard?
There are many stages of Mashiach. When you say work hard, the connotation is work hard. That there won't be anything that's going to be stress or distress.
No negative.
Right. It's like you're working hard collecting diamonds,
What if it's a holiday?
Yitzhahara is going to go where he belongs. He's gonna be retired. He'll go to old age home. Yeah.
Florida.
Okay, you said it, not me. Okay.
I did.
There's a pasuk. It says, "Ruach hatuma avir min haaretz." I will remove the spirit of impurity from the world, and that's the source that there won't be Yetzer Hara then, which means people won't even have a desire to do something negative because the Yetzer Hara makes us have that desire.
But will we ourselves overcome our Yetzer Hara, or will we just not kind of not?
No, now's the time to do that. Overcome, because now we have the challenge. When Mashiach comes, it won't even be a challenge. It'll be natural. There's certain things that every one of us does right because we naturally have a desire to do it the right way. I don't have a Yetzer Hara to do certain things. I don't have that kind of Yetzer Hara. When Mashiach comes, that's the way we'll feel about everything that's good and positive. That there won't even be the desire to do something wrong.
And that won't come from our own work. It will just come.
Right. It is a result of all the work that was done over thousands of years of all the people that did overcome the Yetzer Haras. No, it's not just empty. It's a result of work. And we ourselves are a result, like I said, Mashiach is coming as a result of everything that all the Jews did throughout the thousands of years. So ultimately it's coming because of the work, but at that time there won't be work anymore.
So only Jews are overcoming it.
What?
Only Jews are overcoming it, so.
No, everybody has challenges. There are people out there that are not Jews, and they also have challenges, and they make the right choices to do the right thing, to do something which is moral or ethical. So they also do their avodah and their mitzvahs.
And that also counts in that?
Yes.
But
Yeah, I think she said because they have also a nefesh elokit, so they fight with each other.
yeah, but they don't have that. So how can they add into?
Well, then why would Hashem give them 7 mitzvahs if what they do doesn't count? Yes. In those mitzvahs, which are their commandments, yeah, they have free choice. And the 7, by the way, we'll learn about it also, is not just 7. It's like say, oh, there's 39 malachas on Shabbos, that's all, There's 6 books of Mishnah. Oh, then you take a look and there's no end to it. So same thing also, 7 mitzvahs have a lot of details, but it really includes mainly all the moral and ethical things that according to Torah is right. So there's a non-Jew have the choice to steal or not to steal, of course. Otherwise, it wouldn't be commanded to do or not to do if you had no choice. For example, you have the story with Nineveh. Remember the story with Jonah and the whale? What happened? came to a city and they said, this city, the people are not conducting themselves properly. In 40 days, the city will be destroyed. And the king took it very seriously, told everybody to fast and to do tshuva. These are all non-Jews in Nineveh, and the decree was canceled because it did tshuva and it was accepted by Hashem. So they have free choice to do what's wrong. They have free choice to do tshuva.
Just like us.
In their things, maybe there are levels and details, but in general, for those things that a non-Jew is obligated to do, it comes to Shabbos and they're obligated to keep Shabbos. They're not even supposed to keep Shabbos. But when it comes to all the other mitzvahs, which are their mitzvahs, believing in Hashem and things like that, not idol worship, they have free choice. Yeah. And look, they'll also be benefiting from Mashiach's times. Yes, there are those that are maybe so wicked that they'll be eliminated. But the most part, people in the world will be, like everybody else, will be transformed to appreciate Hashem and appreciate their mitzvahs and appreciate their purpose, why they're here. And they'll be learning about the greatness of Hashem. I mean, the mere fact that we see today what's happening with Sheva Mitzvah B'nai Noach, that there are tens of thousands of non-Jews that are into the 7 Noahide laws, is in itself miraculous, in itself unprecedented. And it's only because we're getting so close to Mashiach. Otherwise, how come now it's different than before? To be continued. I don't want to do everything in one class, because there won't be nothing left to teach. So please. Okay, you're welcome.
You go out in this rain.
I will.
Actually, I'll come with you. No, because I might see my rabbis, so let's go.
Let's go.
Rabbi girlfriend.
I was waiting for you for too long now. You see, she asked me if I want to go to Seven. Yeah.